Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Volta TST. Thanks for joining. As usual, the call is public and recorded and will be shared live on YouTube. So first up, I just wanted to reiterate the message that we are looking at the code freeze around end of November, so November the 26th, with a release on Friday the 17th. I did last week a Jira review of Volta 2.9. I brought these to a better state than what it was before, but I would encourage everybody to please take a look at the assigned Jiras that you have either in progress or to do, and comment on them, get them done, or see that the status is up to date. And if you're in doubt about something, or you feel that we cannot get it done or stuff like that, just ping me and we'll discuss it, and we can then make a final decision. If you have some doubts about some of those Jiras and things like that, we can also move them out if they're not any more relevant. So just make sure this is up to date, because I want it to be to have this to be close to where this needs to be for the release, especially. So that was just a plead from myself. So first up as another topic is the proto changes that we want to get in. These are changes from Ken. So I know he has the protos patch up there. I linked it here. Ken, do you want to give us some of the thoughts around this patch?
Well, the patch is up, as well as all the relevant repos that depend on that patch. Yeah. So it's a bunch of cleanups there. Like I encourage everyone to go and take a look at it if the cleanups are okay or not. I tested them with most of the repos that I could think of, and they work. So it's take a look, and if it's good, then we can merge that, and then we'll merge the Volta lib go, and then after that we can start to use them in the core and adapters.
Yeah, that's good. One thing on this is the APIs for the ONU software update. So I noticed that you have taken those out. Am I correct?
No, I didn't remove them. I left them there.
Yeah. You take those out from the patch. Sorry, that was my poor expression. You left them in the existing protos. Yes.
Yeah, that's correct.
Because of what my hair said. Okay. Yeah, that's good. I think we can. I think we should take them out, but it can be done in a subsequent patch, and if not, it's okay. Still okay.
Yeah, like I have no problem removing it. It's just I don't want to have any adverse impact on anybody.
Yeah. No, exactly. Maher, did you check internally at TT if they're still used, or if you are okay moving to the new APIs?
Sorry, I was in mute. Yeah, we're still using the old ones, and the plan is moving it by the end of the year probably, or the beginning of next year.
Okay.
One question a general question on APIs. Do we have a way to deprecate APIs so everyone that is using them is aware that those APIs are going to be removed at a certain point?
You mean from the proto?
Yeah, from the protos or APIs in Volta lib go. If there is something that we're planning to remove in the future, maybe we should find a way to mark them as deprecated.
I thought protos Proto Buffs had a way to do that. gRPC had a way to mark things, but it's going to also be a documentation issue.
Yes. So that was what I just wrote there. I can work on a
Yeah.
deprecation policy. What we did in the past, in Honest, I think, David, you remember, is a to release deprecation policy. That might be a little bit overkill, but it's also good timing because you could do a to release deprecation policy, meaning you do an LTS release with those APIs, then you deprecate them, and you have, and by the next LTS, they're gone because you effectively have 2 releases plus the new LTS ones. So I think that's not too bad. But what I can do, I can write a document or some words around this. Yeah, put them up. And yeah, we should use the deprecation format and language of protobuf.
Yeah, I'll update that. I'll update those to add the deprecation there for those APIs.
Yes, and in this case, we will make an exception and treat them as deprecated from like 2 releases ago. So whenever you comment them, can please put in that they will be removed in 2.10, because that's the time frame Mahir was saying, because they were going to remove them by in end of the year next year. So we're just gonna move to say they're gonna be taken out in 2.10. Okay, good. So guys, please do review the patch. That's important, very important. Okay, anything else on this one? Okay, then if not, the following item is the stale state of etcd. So I know Serkant addressed all the comments on his patch. There was a little bit of a discussion with him and David. What's this end goal? Can we what's the end state? Can we go ahead in the next day or so and merge that? Because I know it works with all the state getting removed. Hardy confirmed that.
And let me just verify this is the one I'm looking at right now. I think I'm good with it. No, I'm actually looking at 3731. Is that it? So this is a different one you've got?
No, this one was abandoned, and 3731 is no.
We were discussing on that one, David. Yes, correct.
Yeah, okay. So I think, I mean, all my issues are good. I'm about to give it a +1. The only outstanding issue, and it won't be resolved in this patch, so it'll have to be another one. Is there a I want to say not a pruner, well, pruner or a something kind of can run periodically to find all the bad data or leftover data in the database and remove it.
So on that note, I meant to ask, if we're sure that we're cleaning up everything, why do we need a pruner?
Because the delete can fail.
Ah,
right.
Okay.
And if the delete fails, we leave it as a warning, because, and I get that it's not going to cause any errors. It's just bad data. It's unused data sitting in the database that if we get a lot of deletions over time or delete fails over time, our database will grow. And so, you know, the question is harvester. That's what I was looking for. Is there a harvester, something can go through and glean the field of all those? First, it would have to determine where, you know, garbage collect the bad stuff, which is bad. And, oh, sure. Assign it to, okay.
I mean,
never mind, it doesn't need it. We don't need it.
No. You seem to have a pretty clear idea of what should be a good thing to have, so that's why I'm assigning the Jira to you. I'm not saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to also be an issue of how often it happens, right? You know, if deletion never,
Well, it's a good thing to have. The priority of it, then we can discuss it.
Yeah,
But
I'll create a
it's a
Jira
good thing
for
to
it.
have. Thanks.
I'll create a Jira for it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I do agree. Okay. But we still, we still need a further patch for the one by one deletion of elements. Is that correct? This is not fixed by your current
Mm.
3731.
Yes, correct. Unfortunately,
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
I need to create a drill. I didn't create it yet, but I will.
Okay, one thing, do you guys think this is an issue, Serkan, do you think this is an issue for 2.8 as well? Meaning, do we need to backport this? Do we treat it as a bug fix and backport it to 2.8 as well?
The stale data thing,
Yes.
you mean? I don't think it's something need to be put in 2.8 because it doesn't make doesn't have any harm in the functional work. So
Yeah, well, but
you tell. I don't know. Not sure.
Yeah, no. It's not me. I don't want to make the final decision. I want to hear everybody's opinion because, in my view, probably we should, because the release 2.8 is LTS, and if this is stale state that is lingering there, the 2.8 LTS is most likely what operators are going to use in production in the upcoming year. So maybe we need to backport this. But what do others think? I'm looking at the TST member.
So this
How
means every
hard
time we
would it
delete.
be to backport it? How
Yeah, go ahead, David, then Theo.
I was just asking, this happens every time we delete a device.
Yes.
We get this. Okay.
I need to add this is not only affecting the delete case, also affects the restart cases. So in restart cases, we try to delete everything in the cache, but that wasn't also working. This also fixes that issue. So for example, if we restart the OLT, there were some stale data. So this patch also addresses that issue. So I don't think there will be lots of delete operations, but there might be lots of restart operations. So yeah, it might be a good idea to backport this to 2.8.
Yeah, that makes sense to me as well.
Yeah, makes sense to me also.
Okay, that's a new job for me.
Both the core patch and the OpenOLT patch. Okay, thanks, Serkan.
Sure.
In the meantime, if you don't mind, I would ask you to do one thing. So as you know, and I might have it somewhere below, but as you know, we merged this morning a patch from Ezin on the Volta libgo here, a panic when exhausted resource ID. If you don't mind, while you are at it backporting this stuff, I will actually merge the 2.8 version of this patch soon. I just need a +1 from somebody. So if you don't mind, please increase the version of Volta libgo in the components to include this one as well.
Didn't Esin already increase the version, by the way?
No. It increased the version of Volta libgo, but you need to bring it into the components.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Good. Okay, so I'm gonna just go ahead probably and merge this one later today when I get a +1 from either somebody else, and I'm also gonna merge the test from Hardik. Currently the test is failing because of the lack of this, so whenever this is merged, I'll retrigger and we can go there and check the test. Okay. Anything else on the etcd state of void news?
I don't have anything else.
Okay, then if not, let's go to next item on the open core, the OLT app rewrite. Theo, wanna give us some good news?
Yes, probably. So last week I found a couple of bugs with the enable disable operation when these were happening fast as we do in the test. There were some cases in which the order was flipped for the event, so the system ended up being in an inconsistent state. That has been solved by changing the internal queue of the app to be on a per port basis, so that we can guarantee that all events are processed in order. Long story short, it exactly happened what Mahir and David brought up when we reviewed the app. That has been fixed. The results seem to be consistent. We don't have the test passing 100% yet because there was a little bit of churn with all the merges in Voltha, but I'm confident that by this week we will have all the tests green, and we can proceed with merging and swapping out the application.
Okay. Okay. So are we aiming for this weekend for the hardware tests?
Yeah, I think that's a realistic thing to shoot for.
Okay. Great. Good. Any questions for the new OLT app?
Perhaps from my side, Matteo, I mean, last time I checked with Tuna and he said that he tested the application in Netsia lab and he informed you about some, I don't know, problems about multicast or something. Did you also check this issue? I mean, at the end of the week, do you plan to solve these problems Tunahan reported to you?
Another thing was the issue he was saying, programming services for different services on the same subscriber at different times, and that has been resolved. There was one issue in the application itself and one issue what was with the SEDIS cache, but that's been solved.
Okay, thank you.
So, and if you speak to him, say thanks to Anand for the thorough testing is done on the app.
Okay, welcome.
Okay. Any more comments? Okay. And if not, there's a new topic here that I wanted to discuss. So there was an exchange of messages, the links are there, on the Volta Kafka to gRPC channel about some possible failures during reconciliation where we could find a time period where we would have some, if the calls happens in a certain order, there are some failures which we couldn't really recover. So Ken, do you mind give us some little bit more overview on this one?
Yeah, sure. It's basically it was pushed on the Kafka gRPC channel, but this is a inherent problem that we have before and we still have. Basically, what's happening, we're doing a delete of an OLT device at the same time that the ONU devices are in reconciled state. So when we do the delete, what happened is a bunch of callbacks that get executed for that OLT deletion. And some of them, like we're going to delete the logical device, we're going to delete logical ports, and we're going to delete all the child devices. So once we're starting to invoke the delete of the child devices, but the child device are in reconciled state, so those fails. So basically what we end up in a situation where we have a system where some aspect will have stale data, and some cases, for example, the logical devices and everything is gone, the OLT will be gone, but the ONU devices per se will remain because there's no request per se that gets sent to the ONU adapter because the ONU devices are in reconciled state. So this is, and one thing that is, I think it's missing, it's been missing for a long time, is once we run a series of callbacks following an action, there are no retries mechanism for that. And also if any one of those action fails, there's no action that is taken to put everything back as it was before, and that's very tricky to do. So for example, if we're deleting an OLT device and part of the callback we delete the logical device, the ports, and everything, and then down the road we can't delete an ONU device, then it's very tricky to get the system back as it was before. Because there's a lot of processing that happened. So in the meantime, what I'm suggesting is when we do a delete of an OLT devices and we invoke callbacks that are going to be run in the background and we're going to assume that they will pass, then instead of just doing a regular delete, we'll have to do a delete false for those callbacks. If we do a delete false, what will happen is we're going to bypass the reconciled state and just clean up the devices, because the expectation in the code is if we're running those callbacks, we're expecting that everything is going to pass. So in the meantime, I think instead of overhauling the entire code to try to put retries and transactions in place, I think the easiest way is to assume a delete false when we are in the callback state. And that scenario will happen also in, for example, if an OLT device. Go ahead.
What will happen if we flip the order in which we execute the callback? So if we delete an OLT device, we actually try to remove the news first, and then the flows, and then the logical device. And then if everything works, we remove the OLT. But if something fails, like the ONUs are in a reconciled state, then we send an error back saying we cannot remove the device because the child devices are in a reconciling state.
Yeah, it's there's different ways where we can do that, but the reason why we start with deleting the logical device is to prevent actions coming from ONOS or any other component on that device, especially from ONOS. Like for example, if we go and delete and don't delete the logical device right away, we start to delete the ports or delete other things, then ONOS may take some actions to maybe send flows or maybe do something else. So that's why we delete the logical device first to make sure there's no actions happening on that. So things can move around, but there will also be like side effects, right?
So if we know the logical device is being deleted, is it marked for deletion such that when we do interactions with ONOS or something that might pass things down, when ONOS asks for the list of devices, we would just not give it to it because we know it's in the process of being deleted?
Currently, we don't mark as deletion for logical device. We just delete it.
So there's no way to tell that it's being in the process of being deleted.
No, there's no way currently.
Is that kind of the philosophy we need? I'll ask that. Should we be introducing a state which basically says I've been marked for deletion, or I'm in the process of being deleted, so that when we get various calls from northbound systems, we can respond appropriately?
Yeah, that would be something that I think would be useful, like those kind of partial states. I think that would be useful.
Don't we already have a middle state? I forgot what it's called.
We have that for devices. We don't have
the
that
transient
for
state.
Transient state,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, we have those for devices. We don't have those for logical device.
Is there a state
Okay.
also in ONOS for the devices,
No,
which represent our logical device?
no, it's connected or disconnected.
Hmm.
But so one thing that immediately comes to mind looking at this is, should we call force if the device is in a reconciling state?
I'm more of the fan of saying, look, the solution here is to have a transient state so that a logical device knows it's being deleted, so that we can handle interactions with external systems appropriately, including disconnecting from the OF agent. That seems to me that that'd be the approach, because then we can let resources clean up in the background, and then when they're cleaned up, complete the deletion of the device.
That is a partial solution, because the problem is when we are going to go and delete the ONU devices, they will still fail because they are in reconciled state, and that's a callback, irrespective of whether we have partial state or not for the logical device.
So when there is a call to delete the ONU, because it's, I'll call it parent device, ownership device, has been marked for deletion, then I think that's an override of the reconcile state, force, whatever you want to call it, right? And it may not be that we, and maybe that's what you're saying, is when we when we know we've deleted a logical device, we instigate the child device deletes with a force. So we override any reconcile state. Is that, and I can get behind that. And then at the same time, I think it's valuable to have a transient state for the logical device, kind of keep it around till all those things complete, and give the system a handle for if something goes wrong, we can somehow reflect that back to the user in an intelligent way via the CLI API.
Yeah, I think David's point makes sense. So what would happen as of today if, say, after we delete the logical device and the vCore crashes?
If you delete the logical device and the vCore crashes, then when you start up again, that logical device will not be present, so it won't appear in memory.
Yeah, but what about the flows and the child devices that were associated with that logical device?
All flows will be gone for that logical device. So it depends at what stage the deletion was happening on the devices. And that happened in each scenario. It all depends, like at what point in time things are crashing. So if the flows on the devices, well, no, hold on, like we don't persist any flows for devices.
Yeah, but the device has some connection to the child devices, right? So the child devices have not been yet deleted.
Mm-hmm.
and we will lose the handle to those child devices as to the tree, which are the child devices connected to this device.
Yeah, that's correct. We'll lose that.
Yeah, so I think the transient state that David is talking about, that could help us recover from that, right? Because we would see when we come back that we were in a state of deletion, which is not yet completed, and maybe we could try to salvage the situation from there.
I think we need a transient state. How do we react to a transient state? Is like let's say we mark logical device as being deleted, and then we go ahead, and then along the way something fails. It could be anything that fails. How do we react to that? Do we go back and put everything back as it was before?
No, absolutely not, because you can't guarantee you're going to get back.
Yeah, we can't.
When something fails, the idea is have some entity in the system which you can identify with that failure or expose that failure to the user. Because essentially when something happens like you're talking about, the system is in an unknown state and requires manual intervention to get it into a good state. And so it becomes a question of how do we expose that unknown state to the operator, and how does the operator then take next steps to resolve the unknown state. So by having a transient state associated with a logical device, we at least have ability to say, when they do a get devices or something like that, logical devices, we have a way to say, here's an error, by the way, this device was marked for deletion, its transient state is failed deletion, whatever, but now they have a handle, and now other commands can be instigated, such as delete, retry, force delete, whatever we want to call it, to give them a way to try to resolve the state. Does that make sense?
This is what we do for devices currently. We don't do that for logical devices. I'm trying to think how they will resolve that. They will see that it will be a new state that we need to add. Well, we actually don't publish the transient state to the CLI. So there's no mechanism today to publish that. So we need to find a way to maybe to add the state or do something with that.
I agree. There needs to be when there's an error that is not persisted, so it's not in some persisted state, but the operator needs to take an action, whether it's on the logical device or the device. Yeah, it needs to be able to be surfaced some way. And again, once it's surfaced in the API, it's easy enough to surface in the CLI.
So, David, when I think when the case that Ken was describing happens, you can actually see that when you list the devices, because you'll find ONUs that are not connected to any OLT, and at this point they're probably in a reconciled fail state. So actually all you have to do to recover is to force delete the ONUs. So it's somewhat already bubbled out to the operator.
So you're suggesting that we don't need a transient state in the logical device because there's enough information in the device and ONU state?
Yeah, because I'm not, I mean, we can surface that, but I'm not, so personally, I rarely list the logical devices in Voltha, because that's more something that is exposed to an upper layer for the abstraction. But when I look at Voltha, I want to see what's the state of the physical devices is.
Agreed. Same here.
Okay. No, I agree too. I rarely looked at logical devices. That's something that ONOS does.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how much of a benefit will be to keep the logical devices.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. If there's enough information that and a place that the operator can issue a command to clean up or get back to a known good state, that's fine. That's really what I care about.
So in this scenario, like when we are talking about the transient state for the logical device, the real use from that would be if we were able to revert back to as it was before. If we are not going to do that, then there's not a lot of use to that. But in this specific scenario that we have, like Matteo said, like the operator will see the deletion fail for the all new devices. Do we need to take action for that, or we just say, okay, this is it's a known issue, or should we try to really do a delete false to make sure that in anything that is a callback, that things are gone? Like in the case of OMUs, we want to get rid of them, we false delete them. Or we leave things as is. If we leave things as is, then nothing to do.
So if we know that something has to be deleted, regardless of its reconciliation state, the only way, then we have to force delete it.
Yeah, because so one thing that I was thinking is that actually maybe the operator found out about the reconciliation, and it doesn't want to know about all this reconciliation. It doesn't want to do the reconciliation. It doesn't want to know what the state exactly is. It doesn't know, and it's just going to go and force delete everything. And if you delete the OLT, my expectation is that you know you're going to get all the devices underneath it gone as well. So I believe that deleting the parent should always end up in a deletion of the child. So the force is, in my mind, what I would do, because that enforces a cleanup of everything, and then you basically re-add the OLT and you get a better state, and you get a clean state. And yes, it's an operation, and yes, it's an operation triggered from the outside, but I don't see that as an issue.
I think it makes sense to force delete the child devices, because I don't see a case in which the child device has any reason to exist if the parent device is not managed by Voltha.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can support that.
And you are aware of the reconciliation state of ONU adapter in RW core, or you will, I mean, send a delay to ONU adapter and get a negative arc, then goes force delete?
No, it would just do a false delete. Yeah, it would just do a false delete, because currently, like when we delete all the child devices, we look in the context whether it's a false delete or not. If it's not a false delete, we'll do a regular delete. But when it does a regular delete, it will look at the state of that device. If it's in a reconciliation state, it will just say, can't do that. But if it's false, it will just go and issue that deletion to the ONU adapter.
Okay.
Okay, good. So maybe Ken, I guess you have your action item on this one if you have the time to do it, or should I take it on?
Oh, you want to write the code?
Sure. I mean, fine.
It's up to you. It's all right. I can do that. Not a problem. So I'll just make it actually it's about removing code and adding code in this case, because that delete child device check whether it's a false or not. So it's a really it's a simple fix for that. I can do that. It's okay.
Okay. Thanks, Ken. I'll create the Jira. And
okay, thanks.
So does this mean that we no longer get devices in reconciled state when we try to delete a device which is reconciling?
if you do if you're trying to do a delete on an ONU device while it's reconciling, you will get that failure. But here, all I'm doing is anything that is a callback as a result of a delete of an OLT, we're going to make that delete of that ONU as a false delete.
Okay, so it's for the parent device. Got it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Unless we want to change all delete to be a delete false. Then
No.
Okay.
I would stick to this one only for now.
Okay.
Or let's do it in a case by case basis. Okay, I think we can call this one done. On the IPv6 support, I went through the document. I think I left a few comments. Does anybody have any comments on this one?
I saw your comments, by the way, Andrea. So I started to work on it today, actually. So probably for the basic tests, I will outline what is needed in this section.
Okay.
And see if it works or not for the HSI service, basically for the first phase. Because we think the HSI doesn't require any changes in the Voltha. But one thing Burak, my colleague, warned me about, we may need the BAL, the new BAL version, but we will see that. We don't know exactly, because that he says there might be a problem sending multicast packages over the HSI service because of some restrictions. I don't know the details.
You mean 3.10?
Yes.
We are on target to deliver that in the next couple of weeks, so that shouldn't be an issue for this. The amount of work that is outlined in this document is a lot longer than the time that we need to deliver 3.10.
Yes, exactly. But at least we may be sure that only the HSI service work seamlessly.
Okay.
I haven't taken a look at this document yet, Sarkan. I need a little more time. I should have some comments, if any, by next week.
Sure, thank you.
And for the context,
go ahead, Girish.
Yeah, so I think the issue that Burak was probably mentioning was, I think there is some issue sharing the same VLAN for multicast, same as HSI.
Yeah. Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it on BAL, on BAL, Girish?
It was on BAL 3.10. They couldn't share the same VLAN for HSI and MCAST. I thought that was fixed with 3.10. I need to check.
Yes, the release note says it's fixed. Yes, correct.
So we need to keep it different.
No, they can share the same VLAN. That issue is fixed in 3.10.
Ah, okay.
You could keep it different as well. Yeah.
Okay, and yeah, Girish, am I confirming, assuming that in a couple of weeks we should have 3.10 in the master branch?
Yes, so the 3.10 GA is released, but we found some issues. Another patch release is expected by the end of this month.
Okay, sounds good. Great, perfect. Okay, again, this is Serkant and Mahir. How's the work on voice over IP coming along?
Yasin is currently working on that. It will send a patch that will have the voice over IP related proto files. But I think it's gonna be a huge proto file. That is why it is taking a long time. So I hope next week or he will complete at least the protos, definition of protos.
Okay.
And on the ONO adapter side, Özge is working on the VoIP support on the ONO devices on hotspot. So it's ongoing. No new update on that.
So did you say that the patch for the integration of the MEs is upcoming?
Yes, I mean she's working on and
Mhm.
not yet finalized. So it will take a few weeks, I think. I don't think she can finalize them by the next week or the other, but probably 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, yeah, keep in mind that I would very much like to get this in before this.
Yes.
Because otherwise it would be, I wouldn't like that. So if we can make the changes before November the 26th, that would be good. Also, on that note, do we have any idea, or did you guys already started thinking about the testing that we could do for this? Your team, maybe with Hardik, has any thought being given to this testing wise?
Actually, currently in our site, we're doing the test on hardware. So we didn't prepare any automated test or we haven't think on that yet. The test guys in Netsia working with Hardik, they're now working on the IGMP
Yes.
automated test. After that they will move to the pods. I mean, for VoIP support test, but not anything done, yet.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
It is not gonna be easy to automate these tests.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But at least we should do a test that maybe does not pass traffic, but checks the correct status of as many things as we could do.
What if at least I think we can include a POTS UNI in the BB sim, and maybe we can check all the MEs are initialized in the BB sim. That might be a test, automated test, maybe.
Yes.
One thought.
Yeah, that's definitely something we can.
Okay. I'll create the Jira and see if we can schedule it in the next few sprints. Shouldn't take that. It shouldn't be that bad in terms of implementation. Okay, good. This we're gonna keep it within the Protos expected changes here, so that's okay. On the increased uni range from 16 to 255, this is done, completely done. So we're good on that front. I also sent out an email to the Voltha discuss to make sure that everybody knows that if they're using master, they need to change, and a custom status configuration, they need to change their upstream port because that number changed, because it is right now the maximum. It's always been the maximum +1. So there you go. you need to change it to the maximum +1, and so that is what it is. So we have done this, and oh, do you expect any more work on this, Mahir? I don't think so.
No more.
Okay.
So what about the scale? Does this affect the scale tests? All are already done? Or?
No, because we did not increase the actual number in the scale tests. Am I correct, Theo?
Yes, we still have the mask there. You know, the unicount at BBSIM side and the mask on the owner adapter side, UNI mask. So I think the actual number of the UNIs reported by BBSIM are still 4 UNI.
Exactly.
So it's not affecting the scale tests.
Precisely.
But you have the ability to, you know, if you increase the ports count on the BBSIM side, you can now create up to 256 UNIs per owner devices.
Yes, but I wouldn't venture there right now. I wouldn't do it for now.
Yeah, sure. It's all
I suspect that do we reach a maximum range, for example, maximum integer? Do we reach that one? Did you calculate it?
Yeah, we don't.
We don't.
Okay.
We don't feel all 32 bits of the say numbers yet.
Okay.
Is there any patch expected for the uniport mask? I mean, for now, I think, is there any change related to that? I think for now it's okay because we use just 16 uniports, but when someone wants to use 256 uniports, I think the
what do you mean? I mean, it's a configuration value and it's allow you to, I mean, put up to 256, you know, so I think then there's no need to change anything about the mask, I think.
Yeah,
but if you talk about the default value in the configuration, then
okay.
Yeah,
Sounds
so the default value, I think it can stay as is. And if you need to change it, you change it with the Helm charts. Let's keep it like that.
Yeah. So Helm charts allow you to, I mean, put a value up to 256. So I think there's no need to make any change.
Good. Okay. Anything else on this? Okay. Then if not, I'll just take it out. This is considered to be done. Please make sure that the JIRAs for these are closed. Amit, given that you're here, any update on the MPLS support? I don't think there is, but I'm just gonna go ahead and ask.
No, no changes.
Okay. Well, thanks. Okay, we have still like 4 minutes, so I would like to open up the floor to anybody if there is anything that they want to bring up.
Yeah, so I just pinged on that, on the channel here. So I think the uniport bit mask might still need a change because it's an integer in the OpenINU adapter config. So that data type might need to change. I believe. I'm not sure.
Why do we need to change it? We're not hitting the maximum number of the integer.
No, it's a mask, right? So if you want to support 256 bits, I don't think that would fit in the integer.
Girish, but it isn't it's the UNI mask, so I think it should allow up to 256, not the whole
8 bits. It's 8 bits.
I thought that was a bit mask, right? Sorry, I may be confusing. It's a bit mask. So you need to have 256 bits there. It's not the range. I think when each bit is set, that indicates that uniport is enabled. Isn't that the case?
Actually, I'm not sure. I have.
Yeah, let's circle back on this. I thought that needed a change. Yeah, we can check and come back to that. We can discuss on Slack.
Okay.
Okay, then I think we can call it a day. Thanks everybody for joining, and we'll talk again next week. Please act on your items that we have brought forth today, and let's continue any question or comments on Slack. Thanks everybody. Have a great day. Cheers. Bye bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
bye.
Thanks.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.